So I just watched the full trailer to The Whale, and I'm already saying give Brendan Fraser the lead acting awards this whole season, because just from the trailer, and I'm not talking about the movie because I can't comment on it until I see it, but in terms of his performance, I have never seen a trailer be able to do that, to make me emotional just from his performance. And he was able to do that. He was just that one scene. Show it.
I need to know that I have done one thing right with my life.
A lot of that is because what makes it emotional for me is the parallels that connect to his real life. I mean, when you look at his career, he had this huge boom in the late 90s and, mainly the late 90s. I mean, in the early 2000s, that's when it started to dwindle. His successes with the certain films that he was choosing, not many of them were up to par with even something as silly as George of the Jungle. But obviously his most successful film is The Mummy, and it holds up still today. I recently watched it. It's fucking awesome, guys. Like I saw the sequel, and that one didn't hold up as well. But the first one is such an excellent mishmash of horror, adventure, comedy, and romance. It's brilliantly written and directed by Stephen Sommers, who has disappeared, but he needs to come back. That's a whole other thing right there. But in terms of Brendan Fraser, he had such a rise in Hollywood with the roles that he was doing, and eventually so many other things that happened in his life with physical injuries and his ex-wife behaving like a succubus for all the alimony, nearly $1 million a year. Another thing I wanted to mention is the perception that people have about Fraser. They think because of his stature, he's a very tall man, and his voice is very deep, his jawline is prominent, that he is somebody who is kind of jock-like and overly confident. But when you look at the way he speaks in interviews, the different types of roles that he chooses, from Blast from the Past and Bedazzled, and even the offbeat ones that weren't as successful, his sensibility was always geared towards things that made people laugh. Things that were goofy, and he portrays that, he puts that forth in interviews that you look at, all the way going back to when he was doing promotion for The Mummy.
You know, just like it's another day at the office. I think that's what I meant to say. I just had a can of Red Bull, forgive me. What am I trying? Do you have a question? I feel like I'm doing it all the time.
Ultimately, I think what it is, he's very much a very kind-hearted, well-mannered, sensitive, geeky guy in the best kind of way. One of the things that nobody talks about that I remember watching and enjoying was the commentary for The Mummy. Fraser does this singular commentary with just himself, of him just having a goofy little time.
Uh-oh. Children, avert your eyes.
Question. Why doesn't he like cats? Well, cats are the guardians of the underworld.
You haven't answered the question. Sorry. Why doesn't he like cats? Is it like the claws? What they do to your furniture? I mean, what? What is...
And now to see him to really get the recognition for not only his performance, which just, again, based off of that trailer, just that one snippet of a scene of him breaking down. It's not just about him breaking down. It's not just about that. You can have an actor that does a crying scene that doesn't hit you emotionally because it's devoid of sincerity, and that's something that you can't fake. That's something that comes from a genuine place and imagination with a great actor. About that Mystic River scene, on my IG, I talk about that and other little videos that I don't post normally on YouTube. And I mention what other actor does it masterfully. So follow me there. I can tell just from that snippet, when it reached me on a deep level, holy shit, this is something else. So what I'm saying is, give this man an Oscar. It's like that scene from Avengers.
Get this man a shield.
Essentially, Brendan Fraser is America's sweetheart. He's Hollywood and movies underdog. Everyone just wants him. Most of all, like, we want to see him, get back into shape and do another Mummy movie with Rachel Weisz and Stephen Sommers and the rest of the cast. We grew up with his movies, and he made us smile. He made us want to be Rick O'Connell and to dress like, he made me want to dress up like him and have those two guns and shoot and dress up and all that stuff. It's a great movie. It still holds up. And part of the reason why he does is what he brings to that role. And it wouldn't have been the same if it had some generic actor who they had cast in it. So anyway, yeah, declaring it right now. He's America's sweetheart. Yeah. Period.